I'm gonna give you 3 key things you should be doing when you can't ride for whatever circumstance. Maybe you can't make it that weekend, maybe it's raining and you can't ride, but it's still gonna be on the horizon. So what can you do? And that's what I'm gonna cover here. The first one is gonna be watching tape. So motorcycling is a very active sport. You can call it a sport. It is a sport. It's a motor sport, especially the way that I ride and the riders I ride with and the riders I watch. They're pretty much canyon riders and track riders. And so what you want to do when you're at home or even on the go, we have video on our phones, you want to watch tape. That's not hard to do if you're very obsessed with it. You just kind of want to watch motorcycle vids all the time if you're like me, and that's why I try to make them now. But that's essentially how I got into riding, was watching videos, and that's how I got better too, is watching a lot of tape. So athletes in any sport watch tape to improve their game, to see their weak spots, to watch other players who might be better at certain things and learn from them. It's a very good tool if you're trying to get better. Not only that, it helps you learn the road. So when you're out there on the road, it can be very confusing with all the sensory overload, especially if you're new. It's hard to digest everything. Everything seems like a surprise. Corners are scary. They seem like they wrap more than they do. And all of a sudden you're going way too slow for the corner because it's not even really a big corner. So watching tape can demystify the canyon a little bit if you watch it a lot. So you're in the canyon, you're going, you come off the throttle way early, you might even brake just to realize you didn't need to. And so the video can highlight that if you're filming. So I always suggest you film as well so you can watch your rides and see where your weak spots are or your spots of hesitation. That way you can work through them and you can see it like, hey, all the turns in this canyon aren't as tight as I think they are, so I can take it a little bit faster next time I do the canyon. And so that's a really good reason why you should be watching tape if you want to get better. And this is one of the fastest ways to improve. And the second part of tape is also watching informative, scientific-based videos that have to do with the science of the motorcycle. And that video is Twist of the Wrist 2. This video is by far one of the most eye-opening videos and the most informative video that made sense and was very applicable immediately. Every time I watch it, I learn something new, especially if I haven't watched it in a while. It reiterates all the fundamentals you should do when you ride. It talks about bike controls, body positions, entering and exiting corner speed, throttle control, the whole thing. And the funny part, the whole context is about 2 guys in a canyon who ride like shit and they don't know why. And that's basically how we all start. That's how I started. And so it's a perfect context for canyon riders. And track riders alike, the bike works the same. It's an old video, but physics hasn't changed. So it's still good today as it was whenever it was made, maybe 15, 20 years ago. So I highly recommend that. Tip number 2 is gonna be exercise. So like I said earlier, motorcycling is a sport. It's a motor sport. And when we're on the bike, more so than a car, our body is somewhat tied to the suspension. We are the suspension, we're the steering wheel. We guide the bike with our body. When we're going, we go right, we go left. It's a lot of back and forth, especially if you're on a quick canyon. It's a lot of hips and chest, so it's a lot of moving. And that can be exhausting if you're out of shape. There's one thing to get in shape from motorcycling, but you'll still get winded because you need to do activities that push you beyond your threshold so that when you do that activity, your threshold is way higher than the activity requires. And so that requires training outside of the bike, whether that be running, sprints, core work, strength work, everything that will make your body more functional, more responsive. It's also good for your brain. The cardio can help knock the cobwebs off, help you think sharper, make better decisions. And so that's all key when you're riding a motorcycle fast because it's very risky and you don't want any lapse in judgment because you're tired in the canyon. So one way to prevent that is just to stay in shape. Not only that, when you're not riding, or if you only ride once a week, or maybe it's longer than that, before you can go out and ride the canyon or the track, you want to stay prepared. So how do you stay prepared? You stay active, right? And active means you're just active, your instincts are sharp, your reaction time is sharp, you just keep it sharp. So when it comes time to get on the bike, especially because everything moves so fast, if you don't do it for a while, it can be overwhelming getting back into it. So one way to minimize that gap is just to stay sharp in between rides by exercising. I can put a video. I did a video with Scion Army Motorsports. It's on his page. I can put a link in it. We talk about several exercises that you can do that'll help improve your riding skill. Tip number 3 is going to be tied right back into fitness, and this is sleep. I know it seems very basic, and yeah, sleep, but I run into a lot of riders who will be like, oh man, I was up so late and this and that, and I was doing this, and now there's all these built-in excuses in their head before they even start the ride. And we're here to get better. We want to be focused on our skill application. We want to be focused on our interpretation of the road. We want to make sure that our game plan is still intact from what we prepared for, what we've been watching, so that we can ride safely, we can ride aggressively and precisely, right? So sleep is going to be the thing that resets your mind, it heals your body, plus all of the training and the learning you've been doing, watching Twist of the Wrist 2 and watching your own videos and maybe other riders that are better than you, picking up cues from their videos. All that gets downloaded into your head and into your subconscious when you sleep. So if you want to download it properly, you're going to want to sleep. And then you can apply that information when you go to the canyon. So sleep is number 1. If you are sleep deprived, it's equivalent to being under the influence of alcohol. There's plenty of studies that show this, and being under the influence of alcohol is responsible for about 30% or more of fatal accidents on a motorcycle. So you improve your odds by 35% if you just get good sleep and if you don't ride under the influence, obviously. And so preparation is key. So I've never, ever went on a ride with, maybe I have once in a while, but as I got faster, my sleep became more important. Because as I got faster, it gets more risky. Although I'm more skilled, there's a lot going on at high speeds, right? And there's no real room for error when you're going that fast. So it's important to be sharp. Your decision making needs to be at its highest so that you can react if you need to, if something goes wrong. You want to make sure there's no holes in your game. If anything happens out there, you were of sound mind, you were properly prepared, and shit happens. So always be prepared. Okay, and sleep is the cornerstone of preparation. And now a bonus tip is going to be mental repetitions. What I mean by mental repetitions is basically you're imagining and you're manifesting you riding better, right? That's kind of how I got the improvement in my riding happened relatively fast, at least to the riders that I ride with. This is what I've been told. And I think a part of it was me just visualizing over and over, how the body position would be, how it should look. And then I kind of knew how it should feel before I got there, right? You watch MotoGP, you watch other riders film other riders, right? And you see their body positions and you see how they're leaning and you see their head and they're tilted and they're leaned over and their heads turned looking through the corner. And you see all this and you don't know how to apply it yet, but one day you're going to need those skills, right? Because you're seeing what it looks like to move fast. And all those body positions and head positions and body positions, okay? Those are all very intentional and purposeful for the purpose of going fast and efficient and to be comfortable at speed, right? And so you want to take note of that. And as you kind of ingrain it, you're like, I know I should be in these positions. I don't know why they do that. Eventually, as you progress, you'll be in the canyon. And then for me, for example, I've been going in and I used to fight the bike suspension. And now when I go into the corner, I realize I just have to melt into the bike. And I go into the corner and I'm in line with the bike. I'm not fighting the bike. Me and the bike are one. And then it all clicked and I'm like, oh, this is why the MotoGP riders look like that. Although this is just a canyon, my position might be exaggerated, but it feels comfortable and I feel safe doing it. And that's what's important. If you're comfortable and you feel safe, you're confident and you're less likely to crash. So you might argue that I don't need that body position. I argue it looks cool and it feels good, so I'll keep doing it. All right? And so that's what I mean by mental reps. So if you're obsessed with something, this is something you'll do. When I skated, we used to watch skate videos and we would just be like, yo, that looks sick. I want to do it just like that. He's really good. I want a nice, clean style. And I equate motorcycling to skating in that respect. Good riding looks good, it's smooth, and it looks sick, right? So that's how I approach it. So those are the top 3 things. plus the bonus tip that you can do to be a better rider when you can't ride for whatever reason. For the subject of this video, it's because it's raining and we can't ride, so this is the best way to keep sharp and be ready for when the sun is back out and the roads are dry, and then we can get back after it.